Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of The Jamie Hughes Show. My name as always is Jamie Hughes and today I'm going to be talking to you guys about the 2019 Oscar nominations. Now the nominations were revealed on Tuesday the 22nd of January, and if I'm being honest, I felt like they went the way that we all thought they were kind of going to go. Yes, there were a few surprise inclusions, both positive and negative, but what I'm going to be talking about today are those Oscar snubs. We get them every year where a movie or a performance feels like it's going to be a shoo-in for a nomination and sadly it is overlooked by the Academy. So these are just my 5 personal picks, my personal opinions. I would love to know what your picks are down in those comments below. Do you have any different to me? Then let me know down in those comments below. But before we do jump into this video, there is one film that I'm genuinely gutted didn't get any Oscar love. Luckily enough, it's got quite a lot of BAFTA love, and that is Stan and Ollie. I felt like it could have just crept like under the radar and got a couple of nominations, so that was kind of sad to see. And one that was pointed out to me on Twitter that didn't get any nominations, which is a damn shame, is Paddington 2 as well. So just wanted, they're kind of the honourable mention snubs. But let's jump into this list proper, and my first nomination snub is Won't You Be My Neighbour for Best Documentary. So Won't You Be My Neighbour is a really strange admission from this category, and for me personally, why this felt so odd is that, like, I knew about this film, and that sounds like a really odd statement to make, but you know, obviously I live in the UK, and I think maybe outside of people of a certain age, not many people know who Mr. Rogers is. You know, I only kind of have a vague recollection of him through those old Eddie Murphy SNL skits, but you know, he's not really known over here in the UK, but through like sheer force and seeing my film friends on Twitter from America just praising and just shedding the light on this movie. This movie really took off and captured maybe not even a nation, but the world and many different continents last year. It made me want to go and check out and find this movie. It was huge, and not only did it have big commercial success, it also had huge critical success as well. So the fact that, you know, this movie felt like it was a shoo-in to win Best Documentary, the fact that it hasn't even got a nomination is just, it's mind-boggling. I genuinely cannot believe that it hasn't even, you know, got a nomination. It's mental. Next up we have Toni Collette for Supporting Actress. She may have even fit into the Leading Actress category as well, but it's such a shame not to see her be nominated because it was such a great performance she gave in Hereditary. And on the notion of Hereditary there as well, it was a real shock to see that get no nominations either, because I thought maybe it could have got a Best Original Screenplay and maybe even snuck in to that Best Director category as well. But you know, back to the main point is that Toni Collette didn't get a nomination for performance in Hereditary. From the moment this movie was released, there was nothing but award buzz around her performance, and again, the fact that she hasn't been nominated is a huge shock. Next up we have the movie that the Academy forgot, it feels, and that's First Man for a varying amount of categories. I tried to condense it down to categories I thought that it would have got a nomination in, and some that it definitely should have got a nomination in but didn't, and they are Best Director, Cinematography, maybe it could have even slipped in to Best Picture, but the biggest one for me that I felt like it should have had a nomination in is Original Score. The fact that it's not there is a travesty. I love like the whole soundtrack to this movie, the movie that accompanies the takeoff and launch sequence, and that whole moon sequence of First Man is phenomenal. Do you know what I mean? I've listened to that music just like walking around town. It had that much of an effect on me. And yeah, it very much feels like this is the movie the Academy forgot. While I'm even thinking of this, the fact that Claire Foy, you know, didn't get a Best Supporting Actress nomination could be a shock as well. But yeah, it's very, very odd. Is it down to the flag controversy? I don't know, because it feels like First Man had this huge amount of steam in the weeks and months leading up to its release. And then after the kind of flag controversy, this movie just petered basically and just dropped down and down and down. And as I say, it feels like the movie the Academy forgot. Next up, we have Timothée Chalamet for his performance in Beautiful Boy in Best Supporting Actor. Now, this is a real shock because this is kind of the one that we seem to get every year now, and that is that Chalamet was pretty much nominated for Best Supporting Actor in every other award show that we've had this year, the Critics' Choice, BAFTA, and the Screen Actors Guild, I think the Golden Globes as well, I think. But yeah, like, he was nominated for Best Supporting Actor in like every other award show, and then he has been omitted from the Oscars. And it's just a very odd one, the fact that he's had all of this awards buzz and then the Academy aren't recognising it. It just seems like, again, just a very, I wouldn't say this is shocking, this is more like just odd as to why he's not on that nomination list. And finally, we have Bradley Cooper for Best Director for A Star Is Born. And again, you know, this is a great list of directors. Every single one of them deserves to be there, but there are some big omissions from the Best Director list as well. I've talked about it a couple of segments ago, and that is that Damien Chazelle is not nominated for First Man. You also have Lim Ramsey for You Were Never Really Here being omitted from that list. But I think the biggest one for me was Bradley Cooper not being nominated for A Star Is Born. Like I mentioned with First Man, again as well, is that when this movie was released, there was all this rumour and innuendo that, you know, Cooper was not only going to be nominated for Best Director, but he had such an amazing debut that he may even win this category as well. So again, it's just another kind of big omission from this nomination list that we have, and that is kind of my list rounded up. As I said, there were 5 on this list. I did have a list of about 8 or 9 that I did condense down just to 5 because it felt quite nice. But I would love to know your biggest Oscar snubs, Oscar omissions, you know, even if there's films that have been nominated that you don't think deserve to be there. Let me know all of them down in the comments below. I would love to know your thoughts on not only my choices but your own choices as well. And thank you very much for watching this episode of The Jamie Hughes Show. If you did enjoy it and you want to keep up to date with all the latest movie news and reviews and bonus features, you know, like Oscar stuff, there's going to be loads of Oscar stuff coming up on this channel in the next month or so, then make sure you hit that subscribe button, and I will see you in the very next episode of The Jamie Hughes Show. Ta-ra!